have a little think about parts of that story from the road to Emmaus. Let's just have the slide up. So, on the road to Emmaus, we've got these two guys who are walking along, and Jesus comes alongside them. And at first they don't recognise him. In fact, they don't recognise him at all on the road. It's only when they're in the building that they recognise Jesus. And so we see them explain what it is that's been going on. And of course, it's all quite ironic because they're talking about Jesus, and so the only person who doesn't know about this person, Jesus. Of course, it is Jesus that they're talking to. But they go through a range of emotions as they talk to Jesus, and as he then talks to them. And how do people express emotions? Maybe through kind of their actions, if they're crying, or I don't know, jumping for joy or things like that. Well, that's how traditionally people express emotions. The way people these days express emotions is through sending emojis, isn't it? Is that, well maybe it's kind of a way that some people will express emotions. So I've got a few emojis to show the emotions that the disciples, those two men on the road to Emmaus, were going through. Now, any emoji like this doesn't necessarily have one definition. But I wonder if you can work out what these means. If you fancy having suggesting what all these expressions reflect, I think it's fairly straightforward, but put your hand up. And I fancy trying maybe an older person first. So, who would consider themselves an older person? That's a good admission. Okay. I'm going to go for Gerald anyway. Gerald, what emotions do you think have been expressed here on these three?
Well, having never seen these things before, I could presume that the first one is downcast because of his life. He begins to think about life and finally finds Jesus. And the end one is smiling because he has found Jesus.
Okay, great. That's a good explanation of what's going on. Let us see. Does anyone else want to give an explanation of these emojis? Anyone who's, let's say, younger than Gerald? So, that's... doesn't rule many people out, sorry. Okay, Emma.
Sadness, thoughtful, happy.
Yeah, I think pretty reflecting what Gerald said. I say, right, we've got a proper young person here to explain in property. Come on.
Sad, confused, happy.
Yeah, okay. It's following the same kind of pattern. Whether the middle one is confused or thinking or... well, here's what I've got as a title. So, I did it the other way around, and I started with some words and tried to find some faces that would fit. So, therefore, it isn't quite an exact reflection, but this is what we've got. For the first one, disappointed. But the word that Gerald used, downcast, was spot on really, because that's the word that the Bible uses in the version that we read at least. So there they are walking along, and Jesus asks them what's going on because their faces are downcast. And they explain it is about their disappointments. They are disappointed because Jesus had died and they were friends with Jesus. But not only that, it says that they had hoped that he was the Messiah, he was the promised one, he was going to be the one who delivered them. And of course what they imagined by that was something far grander than Jesus dying on the cross. Now, we know that the way that he is the Messiah, he is the deliverer, is through his death on the cross and his resurrection. But they didn't understand that. And all their hopes had been dashed. Who knows what it's like to really be longing for something, to be hoping for something, and then you're just left with disappointment because it doesn't happen. Just a few of us. Anyone else ever be disappointed? I think all of us, surely, have had times when we've just been so disappointed. And for these two disciples walking along to Emmaus, they were so disappointed and their faces are down. But they continue explaining about what had been going on. So they had been disappointed, but also they were confused. They were confused about something because there had been some women who'd gone to the tomb and had come back saying that he's not there, he's alive. This had confused them a huge amount. And they're talking about their confusion. Now, if you are in that state where you're so disappointed and you hear something which sounds like it should be the right answer, part of you wants to go for that, but part of you, as was the case with the disciples, were just confused. They didn't want to be disappointed again by putting their hope in something else, only to find out that it wasn't worth it in the first place. But Jesus then goes on to explain some very important things to them. And now this is just, let me grab my Bible again. Because Jesus talks to them, and he starts off, if you're going to start off a conversation with someone, they've been talking to him already, but this is the first way that Jesus replies to them. And they've been downcast, they've been disappointed, they've been confused and puzzled over what's been going on. And Jesus says, what's his first words that are recorded at least? His first words to them, his first words had been asking them about what's going on. But after they've explained, he says to them, how foolish you are. That's a way to win friends, isn't it? How foolish you are. Actually, Jesus said that to them. And Jesus said that lovingly. Because he says, how foolish you are and slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. He's saying, look, you were looking forward to Jesus being the Messiah, but you were right. In the first place, he is the Messiah. And the reason you are so downcast is because you are foolish and slow of heart to believe what the prophets had said. And says, did not Christ have to suffer all these things and then enter his glory? And beginning with Moses and all the prophets. And that's essentially saying, he starts talking about the whole of the Old Testament. And he explains to them what was said in all the scriptures concerning himself. He's saying all the things in the Old Testament are pointing to Jesus. And I've said this before, but it's one of those talks that you'd love to be, I guess not a fly on the wall, or flying along with them. To hear all these things that Jesus is saying. Wouldn't it be wonderful to hear Jesus himself explain how the whole of the Old Testament points to Jesus? It would be brilliant to hear. But because we don't get that, we actually get to have a lot of fun ourselves as we look in the Old Testament and work out ourselves how it all points to Jesus. And that's something that we try to do here at Brookdale, and try to do in all kinds of contexts to see how wonderfully the whole of Scripture points to Jesus. And later, when they're reflecting on this conversation, the disciples say in verse 32, were not our hearts burning within us while he talked with us on the road and opened the Scriptures to us? They heard an explanation which went far deeper than the report that the women had had, and it caused them to have this feeling of enlightenment. It's probably not the easiest word because it's going to get in our heads, but they were helped. They were enlightened. They were given information which made sense. And that gave them a certain amount of happiness. I wonder for yourselves, as you think about the Easter story, do you still feel any of that disappointment? I hope we don't. But maybe there is some confusion over what happened, but I trust, as we hear of Jesus and his death and his resurrection and what that means, there is a sense of enlightenment. We understand something of the truth. That isn't all there is to say. And therefore we're going to come back to this later. But for now, this is where we leave the disciples enlightened, because Jesus has explained to them the truth of himself from the Bible. Okay, well, for this next bit, I'm sure some of you have spotted that we have a Brookdale Art Gallery, which is opening soon. Well, it's opening very, very soon indeed. Who here is excited about Brookdale Art Gallery opening? There's some people who are very excited, okay. Who here would see themselves as a bit of an art critic, who's going to be very good at deciding what good art is? Jake thinks he's good at art. Anyone else think themselves? Okay, Jake, would you come up and be the judge? You need to judge, when we show all the pieces of art, you need to judge which you think is the best, okay? Alright, just come up onto the stage. Thank you very, very much. Right, are you happy to be the art critic? Yeah? Are you happy to make a decision? Yeah, brilliant, okay. So, underneath here are these amazing pieces of art. Okay? And you've got to just decide which one is the greatest. What shows the best technique, what has the best style, things like that, yeah? Okay, do you think you're up for the challenge? Okay, just before you do that, I just need to put a blindfold on you. Okay? Nothing like a Scunthorpe United Football Club scarf as a blindfold. There we go, right. Right, there we are. Let's wrap it around lots of times just to make sure there's definitely no sign of you. Or chance of breathing, I'm not sure. Are you able to breathe all right there? Can you see anything at all? No? Are you sure? How many fingers am I holding up? No, because I'm not. That's good. Right. Okay. Right. Is that comfortable? Are you sure? Okay. Right, in a minute I will give you the microphone so you can actually give your decision on it. Right, are you ready? You definitely can't see anything? Okay, brilliant. Right, that's perfect. That's the best kind of art critic probably, isn't it? Actually, sometimes you wonder whether they follow that. Alright, here are the lovely pieces of art. Okay, what I'm going to do, Jake, I'm going to describe them to you, and then you've got to decide which one is the best, okay? Okay, so the first one we have a girl holding a balloon. You can't really see the face of the girl, but I expect she's happy. So, that's the first one. The second one is another person. This one is one of someone who's walking a dog, and the artist has been very, very clever, because you can see in the dog that they're actually barking at the time, okay? So, the second is that person walking, so we've got the person holding a balloon, in the first beautiful piece of art. The second beautiful piece of art is someone walking a barking dog. The third is a bit of an abstract art. It's different shapes, all kind of tangled together. Conceptual abstract art. It's kind of popular, that kind of thing. The fourth one, is a very detailed picture of there's a house in the country, in the garden, there's a car on the road, there's a lake with a ship or boat in it, there's hills in the background, there's a plane flying, there's even a space rocket going up to space in the background of that one. Lots of detail on the fourth one, that's of a house. And the fifth one is a vase of flowers. Everyone loves a good bit of art, which is based on a vase of flowers. So we have the girl holding the balloon, we have the person walking a dog, we have conceptual, shapy kind of art, we have the house, and we have the vase. I'm going to give you the microphone. Can you hold that very near your mouth? Okay, if you can see your mouth. Okay, try it, yes. So which do you think is the best?
The house one.
The house. Okay. Right. Are you definitely going for that one?
Yeah.
Definitely not the vase of flowers?
Yeah.
Okay. Definitely the house. Okay. Let's take your thing off and if we can. There we go. Okay, here are the artworks. I did work very hard on that one, is the best piece of art? You still think the house size? Okay. The answer you meant to say is the first one, because that's the one that has actually had a lot of effort put into it, and actually I think looks really beautiful. Would you say the first one is pretty? Yeah. See, it does make a difference when you can actually see it. You heard it described. Actually, described, it didn't sound amazing, did it? Just a girl holding a balloon. It looks, and particularly you don't even see the detail of the face, but it looks, I think, really, really brilliant. I'm biased because I know who painted that one. I know who did the other ones as well, and I would recommend them as an artist. When you can see it, it makes a huge difference. Well, thank you very much for being an art critic. Tell you what, for being such an amazing art critic, you can have it over the screen. There you go. Oh, no, it's not there. An egg. Okay. Thank you very much. I need to try and remember that I've got more to give to the other children as well. But anyway, the point that's making here is that the disciples who were walking along to Emmaus had all the information kind of that they needed. They had this amazing talk from Jesus explaining how all of the Old Testament is looking to Jesus, but they didn't quite see who he was. It's like having the description of these pieces of art, but not actually being able to see them. If you're just going by the description, if you just know the information about them, then it doesn't really help you see the beauty of one piece of art. For those disciples on the road to Emmaus, they had the information that they needed, but what they were lacking, until they sat in that room with Jesus, around the table where he broke the bread, and suddenly they think, it's Jesus. Their eyes are open to see him, to recognize him. All that information they know suddenly makes sense. Just like for Jake, when he was able to see all the information I said made sense, I'm sure, but the conclusion he came to was different, because seeing makes so much difference. And for us as we gather here this morning, on this lovely sunny morning, as we celebrate the resurrection, as we talk about the information about Jesus and what he did as he went to the cross and died, we can talk about how he died for our sins, we can talk about how on the third day he rose again. That's all the information about Jesus, and the Bible fills us with that information if we will only pay attention to what God has spoken through it. But that doesn't mean that we have necessarily seen Jesus. This morning you have heard about Jesus, you know the information, and I ask you, have you seen Jesus? And I don't mean physically seen him in the way those disciples did. I don't think any of us will have seen him. We all will when we go to glory. We will see him face to face. That would be amazing. But none of us have actually seen him physically, but all those who have put their trust in him have seen him, seen who he is, understood that thing. Now, have you seen Jesus? Have you put your faith in Jesus, recognizing who he is, recognizing that he died for you, recognizing that if you trust in him, you will be forgiven and made friends with God? It is the most important thing I think I could encourage you to do today. If you haven't yet put your trust in Jesus, to do that, to say sorry for the things that you've done wrong, those sins that we've all done, those sins for which Jesus paid for on the cross, to say sorry for that, and to ask Jesus to be your king, to ask him to rule and lead your life, that you may see Jesus for who he is, and acknowledge him as your king in your life. Have you done that? If you have not done, I would encourage you to do that. In fact, in a moment I'm just going to pray a prayer which, if you would like to pray along, if you'd like to do that for the first time. Or if you're not sure if you've done that before, you have the chance to do that now. But also afterwards, I'd invite you to talk to someone that you know here who is a Christian, or come and talk to me. I'm going to be one of the people on the prayer team today, so if you do want to talk about what it means for Jesus to be your King, then please do come down to the front. Or for any reason, if there's something prompting you today, there's the opportunity to come to the front corner for prayer. But would you put your trust in Jesus, that you might see who he is? We shouldn't be just living with blindfolds on, because we can just go by the information that we're given. If we look to Jesus and recognise him, it makes everything else make sense. Let's pray, and like I said, if you want to put your trust in Jesus today, and here are some words that you could follow in your own prayer. You don't need to pray them out loud, God knows what you're saying. So here, let's pray. Oh, Father God, thank you for what we remember at Easter. Thank you that Jesus died. Thank you that he paid the punishment for my sin. Thank you that on the third day he rose again. Thank you that if I put my trust in Jesus, I can be forgiven. So Lord, I confess that I am a sinner. I have done so much wrong in my thoughts and actions, in things that I have done and in things that I haven't done. Please forgive me and help me follow Jesus, that he would guide me as my King, and I would live all my days for him. Amen. Like I said, please do talk to someone, and I'll be down in the front corner here afterwards. And I've got a couple of booklets that I'll just leave here on the corner here as well, which are called Knowing God Personally. If you want to know more about what it means to have that personal friendship with God and to be forgiven, then do grab one of these booklets. So it is a day where we're rejoicing together because Jesus is risen, and pray that you would have that rejoicing because you know that resurrection and life in you as well.